Iran has put on a show of strength as its Revolutionary Guard fired ballistic and cruise missiles during war games in the Gulf. This comes amid heightened tensions with the U.S. and Israel.
Iran's Revolutionary Guards have fired ballistic and cruise missiles during war games in the Gulf. The show of strength comes amid heightened tensions with the United States and Israel over possible Israeli plans to target Iranian nuclear sites. Iran says its ballistic missiles have a range of 2,000 kilometers and are capable of reaching Israel and U.S. bases in the region. Iran also warned of a crushing response to any move against it by Israel.
Here to discuss the situation is Marcin Krzyżanowski, the former Polish consul to Afghanistan and an expert on Iran. Hello, Marcin, and thanks for joining us today on World Today.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here.
Now, what is the significance of this recent missile launch by Iran?
There's a clear signal from the Iranian side to their adversaries, especially Israel, after sound warn from Naftali Bennett's side that Israel is considering, as usual, as always, the military strike option if, as Bennett said, the diplomacy failed. Iran launched an military exercises to show that it is prepared. That, of course, military option is also at the Iranian table.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, why is Israel against a return to the nuclear deal, and could it act on its threats?
Everything which would stretch Iran military power or Iranian economy is against Israel's policy, because Iran is one of few remained enemies of Israel in the region.
What would it mean for the region?
Oh, it would be a disaster. It would be definitely a disaster. Region is maybe not fully stable, but is relatively stable, except maybe some parts of Iraq and Syria, especially in the Gulf. There is a peace. Armed conflict would shatter it and would destroy the oil supply chains. Maybe even oil refineries in the Gulf area, which would be a real disaster for the world economy.
Yeah, that would definitely be a global disaster. Now, do you think, in your opinion, does Israel possess the capabilities to actually launch precision strikes and actually get rid of Iran's nuclear program, or is it too far developed?
It is too far developed, and it would be not enough to conduct only one strike. Iranians learned their lessons from Syrian and Iraqi nuclear programs, both destroyed by a single Israeli attack, mm-hmm. and dig deep into the earth. So to destroy their military facilities connected to atomic program would be a very hard task. Besides of that, every main facility has its own copy in a different place. So a series of large series of very precise strikes would be needed. And Iranians are ready for that. So it would be almost impossible to catch them unprepared. But they are strong enough to boldly defend themselves. And right. Besides of that, cornered Iran would bite very hard to defend itself. We have to admit, we have to conclude that the campaign of maximum pressure on Iran, if not failed, didn't achieve its goals. Because the program is going on, Iranian regime is still on, and still capable to to perform active forward policy, if you want to call it like that. And as I said before, military option would be a disaster for the region, and would also affect the whole world, especially the world's economy. The problem is that at the moment negotiations are very hard, and it can take very, very long time.